What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for MLB Tuesday, May 16th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay, guys, we have a 12-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the pitcher position. So I'm not going to get sucked into playing Clayton Kershaw, even though it looks like he's got a great matchup here versus the Minnesota Twins. On face value, it does look like he has a good matchup, but the problem is the Twins, they have 6 righties, and Clayton Kershaw pitches his worst ball versus righty batters. Now, he's only giving up a .643 OPS versus righties, but it is much worse than his other pitches. So, with the Twins having 6 righty batters, normally I would just brush that off, but the Twins have hit 18 of his last 61 pitches, so that's a .295 batting average. And you're going to pay a premium for Clayton Kershaw here tonight, so I might just go ahead and fade Clayton Kershaw and go with a guy like Christian Javier. So Christian Javier, he is only giving up a .551 OPS versus lefties and a .690 OPS versus righties, facing 3 lefties and 5 righties. Now the Cubs are 0 for 7 here versus Christian Javier, but it's a small sample size, but I do like the splits, and he's 10,000 FanDuel salary, 400 less on DraftKings, averaging 35 fantasy points per game on the season, has an ERA of 3.47, record is 3-1, pitching an average of 95 pitches per game. So I like Christian Javier here versus the Chicago Cubs. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. So you got Paul Goldschmidt once again as a stud in a good spot here versus Wade Miley. He's 8 for 16 here versus Miley with 2 home runs. And he's been on fire. Picked him yesterday or last night. He got us 25 fantasy points. Now, if you're looking for a value play, take a look at Cal Raleigh. He's got a 57% batting advantage over Nick Pivetta. Cal Raleigh batting 42% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .731 OPS versus righties. Nick Pivetta pitching his worst ball versus switch hitters, 14% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .988 OPS versus switch hitters. So there's no at-bats versus Pivetta yet. And Cal is 2,900 FanDuel salary, 1,300 more on DraftKings, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 51 fantasy points last game. He has a batting average of .228. So I'm just trying to catch Cal on a back-to-back good night out. I'm hoping that he can continue that fire that he brought last game. And the splits are good here, so I think he does make an interesting value play. So I like Cal Raleigh. Go ahead and drop a comment telling me how much I can't pronounce names here versus Nick Pivetta. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Ezekiel Duran.
He's got an 89% batting advantage over Jared Schuster. Ezekiel Duran batting 31% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.032 OPS versus lefties. Jared Schuster, he's batting 57% better versus righty pitchers, Jared Schuster pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a 1.110 OPS versus righties. So there's no at-bats versus Schuster yet. Ezekiel Duran is $2,900 FanDuel salary, $400 more on DraftKings, averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .293. Vegas thinks there's going to be 10 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Ezekiel Duran here versus Jared Schuster. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. Lots of plays here in the 3K range on FanDuel that I like. Josh Jung, Jose Ramirez, and Nolan Arenado. All three of those guys are in fantastic spots. Josh Jung with a 98% batting advantage here over Jared Schuster. It looks like he is just in a fantastic spot, batting 41% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.041 OPS versus lefties. Jared Schuster, we know he's pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a 1.11 OPS versus righties. No at-bats versus Schuster yet. Josh Jung is $3,400 FanDuel salary, $1,300 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .248. So I like Josh Jung here versus Jared Schuster. Now I also like Jose Ramirez, who's only $3,300 FanDuel salary, $1,900 more on DraftKings. And I like him because he's 10 for 32 here versus Lance Lynn. He's got 4 home runs. He's batting average .312 and a 1.155 OPS versus Lynn. So I like Jose Ramirez. Also like Nolan Arenado, who's 9 for 23 here versus Wade Miley. It's a .391 batting average, .918 OPS for 3,000 FanDuel salary, $1,900 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season, and he's been on absolute fire, scoring 32, 38, and 19 fantasy points in the last 3 games. And my goodness, take a look at this. His last 5 scored 34 and 16 fantasy points in the games before that. So last 5 games, he's just been on an absolute tear. Batting average of .264. So I like Nolan Arenado here versus Wade Miley.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I like Tommy Edman with a 66% batting advantage over Wade Miley. Tommy Edman batting 38% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .972 OPS versus lefties. Wade Miley pitching his worst ball versus switch hitters, 28% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .899 OPS versus switch hitters. So Tommy Edman is 5 for 15 here versus Miley. He's $2,900 FanDuel salary, $1,700 more on DraftKings, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, dropped 41 fantasy points last game, has a batting average of .260. So I like Tommy Edman here versus Wade Miley. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I like Juan Soto with a 66% batting advantage over a low-salary pitcher, Brady Singer. Juan Soto batting 45% better versus righty pitchers, batting a 1.045 OPS versus righties. Brady Singer pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, 20% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.081 OPS versus lefties. There's no at-bats versus Singer yet. Juan Soto is $3,500 FanDuel salary, $2,200 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .252, so I like Juan Soto as a stud pick, and what I think could be a home run hitter here versus Brady Singer.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.